public communication should not relate to an item that is on the agenda this evening. Consistent with Section 9.5 of the City Council Handbook, 30 minutes will be initially allocated for public communications for items not on the agenda. Additional time for public communications for items not on the agenda will be provided at the end of the open session portion of the meeting if necessary. If you desire to provide a public comment, please complete a speaker identification card and line up behind the lectern at the appropriate time. Wait your turn, and then when you approach the lectern, please state your name and city of residence for the record. You will have 2 minutes to address the City Council. Please keep in mind that this is a city business meeting. The City Council has adopted rules of decorum to ensure that meetings are conducted efficiently and effectively, and that all members of the public have a full, fair, and equal opportunity to be heard. The City Council Handbook outlines decorum expected in the council chamber and can be found on our website. All remarks should be addressed to the City Council. Please do not use threatening, profane, or abusive language which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the council meeting. Again, each speaker will have 2 minutes to make your remarks. Written comments submitted and received up to 2 hours before the meeting have been posted to the city's website for public review and are included in the meeting record, but will not be separately read into the record. All right, good evening. I'm Kevin Wilk, Mayor of the City of Walnut Creek, and welcome to the Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 regular meeting of the Walnut Creek City Council. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, City Clerk Susie Martinez, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Darling.
Here.
Councilmember Davini.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Francois.
Here.
Mayor Wilk.
Here.
And Councilmember Silva is absent due to a planned vacation.
All right. So first we have a proclamation that is for International Transgender Day of Visibility. And I would like to invite Alex Baccaro with Rossmore LGBTQ+ Alliance forward to accept the proclamation. And I'm first going to read it, and then I'll come there, present it, have a few words too, and then we'll take a picture. All right. So International Transgender Day of Visibility was founded in 2009 by U.S.-based transgender activist Rachel Crandall, a licensed psychotherapist and the executive director of Transgender Michigan, created to acknowledge and honor the successes achieved by transgender people. Whereas organizations across the world celebrate International Transgender Day of Visibility as an annual day to celebrate the accomplishment and victories of transgender and gender nonconforming people while raising awareness of the work that is still needed to address the discrimination they face and save transgender lives. International Transgender Day of Visibility is intended to recognize and celebrate the work that is being done by transgender advocacy groups as they fight for dignity and equal rights for members of the transgender community, to build inclusive and healing spaces, and to protect and defend those who are most vulnerable. And the City of Walnut Creek recognizes the significant contributions made by transgender people and is committed to creating a community where all are welcome, safe, feel fully accepted and embraced, respected, and can live openly in authentic and accurate representation of who they are, free of violence, harassment, and discrimination. And I, therefore, Kevin Wilk, Mayor of the City of Walnut Creek, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2026 as International Transgender Day of Visibility. And Alex, if you'd like to say a few words.
Sure. Hi, thank you so much. This is really an honor, and I'm here representing a lot of people. We have a wonderful LGBTQ plus community at Rossmore, and I want you to all know that your support, and it's not just this year, but it's been over several years, has really been appreciated. Especially in the time that we're in right now, where there's so much negativity. And we have someone on our board who actually is an ally, and she just retired as a librarian at a middle school in Palo Alto. 3 transgender students over the last year have committed suicide. So to to have such a to make such a positive statement, and to let people of all ages, young people up to my age of 70, that we're valued is, I can't tell you how important that is, and we so appreciate it. And we have some pins that we share with our allies, and I wanted to give them to you. And it just says, "You are safe with me." And the top of it, the rainbow, is in the LGBT rainbow colors, and the bottom is for the transgender colors. And it's amazing the difference that when somebody, walks into your office, or I know walking into Kaiser and seeing a doctor with a pin like that, I know that I can talk to them freely and be safe. It really makes a statement too. So thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts for continuing to give us support.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, we're going to go.
All right. Well, before we get too comfortable, we have another proclamation for Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. And I invite Thea Helene, with the CCC Meds Coalition forward to accept the proclamation. So the proclamation is, when used as prescribed, medication play an essential role in supporting the health and well-being of individuals across the United States. Whereas misused, improperly stored, or unused prescription medication can result in accidental poisoning, overdose, and misuse, creating a significant public health concern both nationally and within California. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, or the DEA, and the state of California encourage safe storage, responsible use, and proper disposal of prescription medication to prevent misuse, diversion, and accidental harm. And according to the Center for Disease Control, 105,007 drug overdose deaths occurred nationally in 2023. 80,000 were from opioids, which is 70%. And 183 of those opioid-related overdose deaths occurred in Contra Costa County. So it is at home. The Walnut Creek County Meds Coalition encourages residents of Walnut Creek to use prescription medications only as directed by their healthcare providers and to never share medication with others. And proper disposal of unused or expired medications at pharmacies or take-back days helps protect public safety and the environment. The DEA's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday, April 25th, 2026, provides a special opportunity for residents to safely dispose of unused medications and participate in efforts to prevent prescription drug misuse in our community, and promoting awareness, education, and responsible behaviors regarding prescription medications strengthen the health, safety, and well-being of all Walnut Creek residents. And I, therefore, Kevin Wilk, Mayor of the City of Walnut Creek, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Prescription Drug Awareness Month. And if you'd like to say a few words about this.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Wilk and City Council, for declaring March 2026 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. I want to sincerely thank the City of Walnut Creek for taking this important step to protect the health and safety of our community. As you know, prescription drug misuse continues to be a serious issue here in Central Contra Costa County. In our region, thousands of residents are prescribed opiates each year, and opioid-related overdoses and emergency department visits remain a significant public health concern. In recent years, Central Contra Costa County has experienced rising overdose rates, with youth and young adults increasingly impacted by counterfeit pills containing fentanyl. Many teens do not realize that pills bought online or from friends can be deadly, even if they look like legitimate prescriptions. This issue impacts older adults and our queer community too. People from all ages and backgrounds are impacted by prescription drug abuse and misuse. Walnut Creek is a strong, family-oriented community with a prominent business center, and proclamations like this that y'all made today matter. They send a clear message that the city is committed to prevention, education, and reducing stigma around substance use and mental health. This declaration and proclamation also supports efforts to promote safe medication storage, proper disposal, and conversations between parents, youth, schools, and healthcare providers. By recognizing March 2026 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month, Walnut Creek is helping to increase awareness, encourage responsible prescribing and disposal practices, and protect our youth and elders from preventable harm. It also demonstrates leadership in addressing a crisis affecting families across our community. I would also like to remind everyone that DEA Take Back Day will be on April 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The local police station participating will be Concord. You can also dispose of medications year-round at your local pharmacy or police station, but we definitely recommend to call ahead to ensure they have capacity. But thank you again for your commitment to public health and for standing with residents, educators, and prevention partners to keep Walnut Creek safe and healthy. Thank you so much.
Reduce crime and strengthen trust in our city's commitment to public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. So you said you have reported this to the police.
Yes.
Okay. We hear about this throughout the state, and it just is so upsetting because obviously there's nothing we can do in the middle of the night. What I'd like you to do is talk to, is it Captain Slater? You want to handle this? Captain Slater in the back, just for any other additional information. And what I would like to see is something in the future of something that we may be able to get behind and support as a city that we can help to discourage the resale of these. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Mayor, if I could add to that, this has been discussed over the last couple of years on a statewide level in terms of legislation. We can, if you're interested as well, provide an update on legislation that's been passed or that is still pending that might need a nudge to move forward if you're interested, and we can do more outreach with our state legislators on this issue. It is a statewide concern and an ongoing problem.
Yeah, actually, I would like to see something about that. I think that this is something that we don't hear about something for 2 or 3 months, then it flares up again, and when we hear about overnight burglaries, it's almost always something like this. Thank you.
Yes, I would be very interested in that. Thanks.
Do we have any other public comment? It looks like not. Okay, so we'll close the public comment, and we will move to council member and staff announcements, reports on activities or requests. Do we have any closed session announcements?
There are no reportable actions that are being reported this evening.
City manager reports?
Do have one update this evening, some good news to share. Our Deputy City Clerk, Lena Branson, received her Certified Municipal Clerk designation from the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, which is, put more succinctly, a big deal.
Wow, all
And,
right.
Required a lot of effort, and I want to thank Elena for her commitment to this and your commitment to the profession. So congratulations.
Congratulations, wonderful. Councilmember DeVinny.
Sure. Good evening. Just a few things to report this week. I had my meeting with our new chief, Chief Hibbs, where we had a chance to discuss kind of his vision for the department, crime fighting in Walnut Creek, and an opportunity to share some thoughts as well. And I've always appreciated the open lines of communication, and really looking forward to working with Chief Hibbs to move us forward in a positive direction. So, thanks for that time. Had my orientation meeting for MCE as Councilmember Darling's backup alternate, as I'll be serving later this month. And it was quite a lengthy orientation, a 4-hour Zoom call, but it was full of a lot of good information, and looking forward to serving in that role as needed. And then we had our TransPAC, the Regional Transportation Board meeting that I'm the representative to from Walnut Creek. It was not, there weren't a lot of controversial or items of note, but one thing I thought was really interesting was getting a presentation from a senior mobility service called Mobility Matters. And just for those of you who don't know what that is, a reminder, there's a transportation service for seniors that are aging in place, so maybe they've lost their license, and they don't have family or friends to come and pick them up, drive them around, take them to appointments, and they're not able to use like taxis or Uber. They need someone to actually come into the house, help them in their house, get into the car, they're ambulatory, and then help them maybe into their appointment, into the grocery store. So Mobility Matters is a volunteer organization that pairs you up with somebody for each service appointment. It's all volunteer run, and they will come out, do an assessment, match you with the right services, and it's all free for any member of the Contra Costa. So if you have a senior that's aging in place and has lost their ability to drive and needs transportation services, I encourage you to reach out to Mobility Matters and see if that's a good fit. That's all I have.
All right, thank you so much. Mayor Pro Tem Francois.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. My update is relatively brief. I'm chair of the Personnel Committee for Recycle Smart. Recycle Smart is a joint powers authority that collects garbage, recyclables, and organics. And as chair of the Personnel Committee, I have the enviable position of meeting with my colleagues and talking about COLA adjustments for our great staff and a performance evaluation of our executive director, who is equally great. And our recommendations will move forward on the COLA to the Finance Committee, and in terms of the performance evaluation to the full board. One thing that we instituted a few years ago was, in addition with how things are working in the Recycle Smart organization generally, and it seems to have been well received. So that will be going forward in the next few months. I was at I happened upon the Coffee with a Cop event at Starbucks last week, where we had the full contingent of our PD there, including the chief and the captains, meeting with many members of staff, and it was a fun event. There were a lot of freebies and people stopping by and interacting with the police and asking questions, and so glad to see that we've resumed that and that it was so well received. And then finally, next to last, I was at the farmers market booth this last Sunday. Good turnout, great weather. Always like talking to my friend Pete Sutherland from Cali Craft, and maybe coming home with a six-pack from him, but paid for, of course. But some of the people that stopped by, one resident kind of mentioned, along the lines of our All Abilities Playground, and she's a speech therapist, the idea of kind of a communications board for children that are nonverbal, that might be able to, easier for them to interact with other kids when they're at a playground or an event like that. Got a question too about our office vacancy rates, and I talked about some of the developments that are in the works around the Ignacio Center, and then also kind of this dichotomy we have between close to downtown, the vacancy rates are actually quite low, and a little bit further out, closer to BART, they're higher. And so trying to build more of a center and amenities that people, office tenants, will want to be closer to the spaces near BART was an item that I mentioned as well. And I wanted to give a shout out to a staff planner, and his name is Gerardo Victoria. And I have not had the opportunity to meet Gerardo yet, but the city manager shared an email that an applicant shared with him, and I just want to give him an attaboy and say thank you for his good work in making the city look so good. The letter says Gerardo was professional, responsive, and extremely helpful. He handled this matter with patience, clarity, and speed, and his diligence and commitment to quick service made what could have been a difficult and time-consuming process much smoother. So thank you very much, Gerardo. Your hard work and the work of all our staff is very much appreciated. That's my update.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Darling.
All right, I don't have a whole lot to report. Just the one, going back to MCE, I sat in on about the first 20 minutes of that briefing for the new board members and the new alternates, and I appreciate them sticking around for 4 hours. It was everything electricity in the state of California, and I was like, whoa, they're drinking from the fire hose here. But I really appreciate Councilmember DeFinney will be representing me later this week because the mayor, myself, and Councilmember Silva are off to Kita City, our sister city in Japan, which I'm really looking forward to, but I do miss the MCE meeting. A couple really important things are coming up at that. As I've mentioned previously, we are dropping the rates for MCE customers in this coming year that starts April 1st, so that will get final approval on Thursday night, if all goes well. The other thing that is happening, there's two other things happening with MCE. We have grown over 15 years from just a few cities in Marin County to 4 separate counties and a total of 34 board members. And so we are undertaking a governance review this year to look at how that big of a board can operate better, more efficiently, how communication can get improved. And we're really looking forward to engaging the services of consultant. The request for proposals is on the agenda for next Thursday night. And we're hoping to get that consultant on board here soon to begin that process to help us do a better job as a board and do a better job as an agency. The other thing that we met in closed session on Monday and talked about how to do a better job as a board of providing the oversight over contracting for power in the short term. There's a lot of 1 to 5 year contracts that come through the agency that have had oversight, but it hasn't been as regularized. And so we now have an ad hoc contract oversight committee that will be operating until the governance review is done, and that'll be on the agenda Thursday night. There's myself and 4 other board members representing kind of the diversity of the geographic area will be on that, looking at the individual contracts as they come forward. There's been a lot. The energy world is changing, and we're still trying to figure out what the current events back in Iran are going to do to that, but it's a really complex field right now, and we want to make sure that we are providing the robust oversight in helping make sure that we're getting the best deal for our customers and our ratepayers. So we're doing that, and I will be in Japan, and I will leave Councilmember DeFinney to take care of all that. We are looking forward to Kita City for a couple days, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Councilmember Darling. Well, I'll just extrapolate on that a little bit. So just to let people know, we have a delegation that we are going to a partner city. It's a little bit different than a sister city, but there's a lot of similarities as well. And so that's Kita City, Japan. It's on the outskirts of Tokyo. I was there with 2 former mayors about 8 years ago, and the mayor invited the mayor and council to come this year. So we're going to be going there for spending a couple days with the mayor at their city hall and council members. They have about 40 council members, by the way. So if you think you get tired listening to the 5 of us up here, imagine 40 of us up here. I do want to mention, this is important, we are paying our own way there. These are not city dollars. These are not taxpayer dollars. We are funding our own trips. It's very important to make sure that that's mentioned. And we're looking forward to this. This is a great opportunity for exchanging cultural ties. And we have exchange students that come over twice a year from Kita City and stay with host families here. And we have our students that come from both Seven Hills as well as Las Lomas and go to Kita City. So there truly is a large exchange program that happens with this. And we're looking forward to being able to formalize those even more solidly. So I'm looking forward to going with Councilmember Cindy Darling and Cindy Silva, and we'll report back at our next council meeting because we're not missing a meeting. Next, I also was at the Coffee with a Cop, which was the safest corner in Contra Costa County that morning. There was probably 10 or 12 police officers there. Some spouses were there. It was great to meet them as well. And it sounds like a future Coffee with a Cop may be an afternoon coffee where students from Las Lomas or Northgate or maybe would be able to join in and ask questions that are really pertinent for them. So look forward to that in the future. I think many of my fellow colleagues here did the Read Across America just prior to our last meeting. I did the one afterwards where all the second graders that I read to, of course, they wanted to know, did I live in a mansion? How much am I paid? How old I am? All the important questions that are asked of mayors and city council members. But it's always great to be able to read. They're so excited when we come there as well. I did want to give a quick reminder that April 1st also brings two things that people need to think about. One is that gas-powered leaf blower ban goes into effect. Check the city website on that. There's a lot of good information. And again, this is about really education and making sure that people can make that transition into electric blowers or by hand. So that's April 1st. And also the grant program for $10,000 to build outdoor dining at restaurants also expires March 31st. Kathy at Walnut Creek Downtown, if you could do, maybe let the restaurants know that this is it, it's coming up. And I know there's a couple of restaurants that are still interested in doing this, and I think they're still trying to get some things together, so.
Staff conducted preliminary outreach to gather input from the community, stakeholders, city departments, and council on key topics for the upcoming general plan update. This outreach included engagement at community events such as the Locust Street Festival, Trunk or Treat, and Made in the Shade, and initial conversations with local business groups, including the Chamber of Commerce, Walnut Creek Downtown. At the community events, residents shared what they value most about Walnut Creek, and that's walkability, shopping, dining, arts and culture, parks, and most importantly, safety and the sense of a community. Local business groups emphasize updating the zoning code to support economic growth and expand business opportunities. This work will occur after the general plan update is completed. City departments highlighted the update should focus on modernizing infrastructure, leveraging technology to improve services, maintaining a safe and livable community, and ensuring financial sustainability. At the October 7, 2025 council meeting, council recommended that the RFP framework include a topic-based approach to community engagement to allow for more focused discussions and meaningful input. All this feedback helped inform the RFP and the development of the RFP. Following that direction, the city initiated the consultant selection process. So in November 2025, the RFP was issued and distributed to over 24 firms and advertised to the American Planning Association and the city websites. In December, staff hosted a virtual question and answer session, which was attended by 10 firms, and the result of the question and answer session was posted on the city website. By January 2026, the city received 3 proposals, all meeting the RFP requirements. So these 3 proposals were invited to participate in interviews in February. The interviews were conducted by a multidisciplinary team representing several city departments, ensuring a thorough and balanced evaluation of each team's qualifications and approach. Following the interviews, staff completed the evaluations and then identified the preferred consultant team. So we are here tonight bringing that recommendation forward to council for consideration. Consultants were evaluated on several criteria, as you see here: proposal quality, experience with similar projects in California, qualifications of key personnel, the proposed community engagement approach, understanding the city's objectives, the reasonableness of fees, and the project management capability. Based on this criteria, Ramey and Associates, now part of Alta Planning and Design, was determined to be the most qualified and offered the best value for the city. So before introducing the consultant, I'd like to note a recent organizational transition. In February 2026, Ramey and Associates joined Alta Planning and Design, which is a nationally recognized firm focused on sustainable community planning. While the firm name has changed, the consultant team selected through the RFP process remains the same. The project team, the scope of services, and the leaderships are unchanged. What this transition brings is additional resources and a capacity to help support the general plan update. With that, I'll turn it over to Eric Yurkovic, Principal and Deputy Director of Community Planning at Ulta and Design, who will serve as the primary contact and the project manager for the firm.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Eric Yurkovic. I'm a principal at Alta Planning and Design. I'm still getting used to saying that, as you can imagine. It's just a great opportunity to get a chance to meet you all, introduce myself and our team to you this evening, and just talk a little bit about the process that we laid out in our response to the proposal. Alta Planning and Design is really a company that was built on a vision for more active, healthy, and sustainable communities where they work. You may know them. They've been around for 30 years, and they've been pioneers in active transportation and sustainable communities work. As Crystal mentioned earlier this year, Alta acquired Ramey & Associates, where I've been a principal for 14 years. Ramey was a 20-year planning and urban design firm, really mission-driven and focused on creating healthy, sustainable, and equitable communities where we work. We have all come over and become Alta's new community planning group. All of our team and all of our staff are here to support you and the community through this process. We have extensive experience working throughout the state of California and across the country, really working on comprehensive planning and general plan work all over the place. We've been fortunate enough to get an opportunity to collaborate with the State Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation on the update to the state's general plan guidelines, as well as their specific planning guidelines. Our desire to do something exceptional with you all in the community here in Walnut Creek is why we brought together this like-minded group of collaborators who we've worked with across numerous projects. Harris & Associates is a firm that you probably know well. They've been working on your safety and housing element updates. They're going to be working on some of the technical elements of the general plan as well as the environmental impact report. Farron Piers is a leader in multimodal transportation, has been working here in the city, across the East Bay and Contra Costa County, as well as the state. Plan to Place is really a leader in facilitating engagement processes that meet people where they are and really motivate participation in the process. Bay Area BAE, or Urban Economics, is an expert in real estate economics, finance, and residential feasibility, and really help us to convert our visionary policies and practices into things that are implementable on the ground. And the Cultural Planning Group is really a leader in arts and cultural elements, community arts master plans, and public art processes. And then all of our team at Alta, the Community Planning Group, will be led by myself, Tiffany Eng, who will be the Deputy Project Manager, and a great group of staff who will be collaborating with you in the city on this process. Now, we're really here today to help you create a general plan that helps to really center priority populations in places, to really engage the community in a meaningful and inclusive engagement process, to make sure that arts, culture, open space, and mobility are part of context-sensitive design and placemaking that create special places and moments here in Walnut Creek. That we create diverse opportunities for new homes, new businesses, and community amenities that both meet our current needs as well as the future needs within the city. And that we focus on safe and comfortable travel and a vibrant arts and cultural community that not only supports those resources, but also supports placemaking in the wonderful places here in Walnut Creek. And then ultimately, we want to really make sure that you have an attractive and practical general plan that you are able to use, staff and the community are all able to use. Now, to kind of meet those objectives or outcomes for the project, we've kind of laid out a kind of a 5-phase process, really to build a strong foundation and then to deeply engage with the community here. We'll kick off the process with sort of a discovery and learning phase, where we'll be reviewing existing conditions, developing communication engagement plans and strategies for the process, and then creating a draft vision and set of project outcomes which will guide our work and the vision of the general plan. We'll then move into phases where we look at different land use and mobility alternatives. We'll create and revise goals, policies, and implementation activities for the general plan, ultimately updating the chapters or elements of the general plan to review with the community, and then ultimately for you all to consider for adoption. Now, underpinning every phase of that process is a deep and broad engagement program. In the first phase, we're really going to be doing things that lay the foundation for the rest of the work. We're going to be developing a communications and engagement plan, a communication strategy, an interactive website, and then project branding that we'll use from now through the completion of the general plan. We have included specific activities like community partner meetings and focus groups to really ensure that we hear about the lived experiences of a diverse set of members of the community. And then we have more of those traditional community engagement activities like workshops, pop-up meetings, and online surveys so that we can meet people where they are in their lives. And then we're also going to host a series of informational forums that really bring people together in an informal way to talk about housing, mobility, open space issues here within the community. And as part of this process, we're also really excited to launch an interactive online open house that we'll be using throughout the workshop process. So this is an online tool that will allow people to go and listen to video presentations, that will go and look at informational boards and be able to comment and post ideas and community members are able to post their ideas and thoughts about the specific topics that we're focused on in that meeting. It's like going to an open house in person, but you can do it online. So our goal really is to create a lot of diverse opportunities for people to engage in the process. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight that we're going to be meeting with you all as council members, as well as a number of commissions throughout the process. So we're going to kick that off in the not too distant future with a joint meeting with 6 different commissions. So that's Arts, Transportation, Park Rec and Open Space, Youth Leadership, Design Review and Planning Commission. And then we'll come to you all. And in those early meetings, we're going to be talking about the process. We're going to be talking about project outcomes and the engagement strategy we're going to be using in this process to get your feedback and thoughts early on. And then we're going to be meeting with the commissions and you all at various points during the process as we cluster engagement around existing conditions, visions, issues, strategies to meet our project outcomes and goals. So thanks again for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'm going to pass it back over to Crystal, but happy to answer any questions that you have tonight.
Thank you, Eric. So I'll briefly review the key terms of the proposed agreement and the recommended action before council tonight. So the proposed agreement includes a total budget of $3,160,705 million. The contract term is 4 years with the option to extend for 12 months in the case that we needed that extra time to complete the general plan. So based on the evaluation process, staff recommends that the City Council approve the resolution and authorize the city manager to execute the consultant services agreement with Alta Planning and Design for the General Plan 2050. This concludes the presentation. Staff and our consultants are available here for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. I'll start over here.
Why don't we start with Matt?
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you, Eric. This is really exciting. Glad to see the progress that's made. It sounds like you have a really great team and then a big bench back at the home office that can help bring this home. I'm particularly interested in kind of maybe just the proposal process, kind of what you learned through that and kind of the different approaches people had to kind of community engagement, particularly, but maybe also kind of best practices for a major undertaking like this.
Okay. So what we learned from the 3 firms that we interviewed is that they really leverage on technology for that. They're very aware that people want things pretty quickly and convenient. So therefore, you know, a lot of it was based on websites and getting out there to the public as well, because sometimes people don't come to the meetings or workshops that we have. So we understand that we have to go to them. So we learned that, and also the fact that we want to make things convenient for people 24/7. We want input from them, and that could be through our websites or through apps. So those are the things that we'll be working on with our consultant.
That makes sense. And in terms of adaptability, I know that, you know, in my time on council and planning commission before that, we've adopted several kind of specific plans and other plans that it seemed like they would get dated pretty quickly, or, you know, we had a big push for ground floor retail, for instance, and that space seems hard to fill in with things other than services. I'm just kind of wondering, with a large-scale planning effort like that, you know, how flexible can we be and how malleable? What are some of the strategies that we're thinking about employing to make it a living, breathing document?
Eric, do you want to take that one? Okay.
I love talking about general plans, so happy to answer any questions you
You
have.
and me both, yeah.
So it'll really depend on what you want to have flexibility on, right? And so our job will be to kind of listen and learn from you all during the first phases of the process, all the way through the writing and drafting of the process. So where do you want to be very directive in your planning approach, right? We need this. This are the steps we're going to take to do that. And it's a very clear and linear pathway. And the other things are going to be more open and need to be more open and flexible as to how you address them in the future. So we often talk about this in climate planning and policy. That's a very easy one, right? Because that's an area where we are going to be adapting over time. Sometimes that's going to happen quickly. Sometimes that's going to happen more slowly. And so we need to think about how those policies and implementations are implemented over time, and then how we can take corrective actions partway through to make sure that we're still meeting the objectives we're trying to do, but we might be using different tactics or activities to get there. Well, often as part of this approach, we've implemented a digital general plan. Through those digital general plans, we often include things like tracking metrics, implementation activity metrics, so that you can kind of go side by side and see how the staff is doing across different activities that you're doing, maybe what needs to change in the future. It can be part of the reporting that you use to take corrective and adaptive actions if you're not meeting your housing needs or you're not meeting your business growth needs that you need in the community, to name a few. So I think we can design it in the ways that you find the flexibility is important, but then also the ways that you want to make sure that you're achieving very specific outcomes through your policy goals.
That makes sense. And, you know, in terms of what do you, maybe for staff or both of you, what do you envision in terms of the outline or the framework of the plan, in terms of the elements? I know we have unique ones that I think are important to Walnut Creek in terms of quality of life element. We don't have an economic element, economic development element. So how will that happen kind of earlier on in the process? And we'll talk about what the broad outline or framework of the plan will be.
Yes, I believe that in the beginning we'll be collecting a lot of data, and also with part of the visioning, finding out what people want, like the stakeholders. We talk to the local business groups to figure out where we want the general plan directed. I don't know if Erica, you have anything else to add to that?
The most important thing is that we will listen to all of you, the commissions, the community writ large. And there are things like the economic development and DEIB, et cetera, where those are thematics that really cross across the different elements and that they live and breathe in that way rather than necessarily having a static element in and of themselves, so that they have the ability to evolve much more rapidly than even our land uses and our transportation system. So that is woven into the proposal that Alta has given us.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Yes, Councilmember Darling.
And kind of playing off of Vice, whatever he is, Vice Mayor Pro Tem Francois, there's going to need to be some flexibility in the planning effort because of some of the major unknowns right now, such as adoption of alternative modes of transportation like self-driving cars and Waymos that can dramatically change what people are expecting in the built environment. Like, do we really need parking lots if we have self-driving cars? That really shifts where the plan is going to go if that becomes reality. Same for how AI is going to change how people work and what office space looks like. How are we looking at those kind of flexibility opportunities that may or may not, that are happening, but we just don't know how fast they're going to happen?
Eric, do you want to take that one too?
I'll try to give you a really concrete example because sometimes these things can feel a little bit abstract. With self-driving cars, and maybe even if we step back to the advent of companies like Uber and Lyft, what we have done in the planning world and the design world is focus on curbside. So how do we adapt our curbside to accommodate fewer parked vehicles, but more vehicles that are coming, dropping off people, picking up people, dropping off deliveries, food service? And so what we have done in a lot of cases is thought about how we actually adapt the curb space, right? So maybe there's fewer parking spots along the curb. Maybe there's requirements for more pickup and drop off in front of new developments when you build them. So what we try to do is think of how those particular technologies are going to change the physical and built environment and anticipate that, and then drive the changes in our regulations that affect the built form of the community. So in that case, we've gone in and we've changed how the curb is used in a lot of places, right, to allow that integration to come in. I'll be honest, I don't know how AI is fully going to change how we work over time, right?
We can ask it, but
yeah, exactly. I can ask Claude, right, after we finish this. Claude will give me a nice answer. But, this is, in a lot of communities, that means data centers, but that doesn't mean data centers here, right? So, but how does it change our work? Are we going into offices? What are those office spaces like? What are the composition of jobs within the community? You have a big healthcare sector here. AI is going to really affect healthcare and life sciences moving forward in the future. So how is it going to affect the staff and personnel? And those are things we can explore through this process, especially if they're important issues for the community.
And then the other opportunity for flexibility is that we have a housing element, we have a sustainability action plan, we have a fair number of planning documents, some of which speak well to each other and some of which are, disconnected. Right. How do you go about respecting the current planning that's gone on and finding the holes rather than just redoing everything?
Oh, that's a great question. So we really do try and build on the foundation of work that you as a council and the staff and the community have done. It's really our job to honor that work. And if we're just scrapping it and throwing it away, we're not honoring all the hard work that community members in particular have put in after hours in the evening, staff does as part of their daily assignments. Some of those plans are framework plans, like a general plan. They're high-level, visionary, and overarching plans. Some of those are implementation plans. A housing element, for example, is really an implementation plan now. It's very unlike every other element of a general plan. So we have to think about how they relate to one another. So how do the land use policies in your land use and community design element really allow you to effectively implement and adapt your housing element programs that you're going to be doing in 6 years?
We're done already, yeah.
Well, 4 more years. When do we do the next one, right? So you have to just think about how they align with one another. Your sustainability action plan, climate action plan, those are really implementation programs for these items that are in the general plan. And our job is to capture the themes, the programs, the ideas at a higher level and provide sort of an umbrella or a nest for all of those activities to happen underneath.
Okay. Thank you. I look forward to this. It's going to be entertaining.
Any other?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, when I was reading it, I thought, well, what a nice merge from, merging with Alta, because Alta, I guess, born out of active transportation, as we've been talking about, for communities that struggle to break free from the auto-centric paradigm. And I thought that we have some areas of the city that are definitely struggling with that. So I'll be very interested to see how we approach that. I think it'll be a challenging and area to explore. I had a question just sort of about the process. So can we go back to the slide that had the different years that were?
Okay.
So this is over 3 years, and one of the concerns that I have about just sort of generally processes like these is that we do a lot of upfront sort of exploration of ideas, and then folks who are professional at whatever that thing is sort of feel very comfortable with the process, and the process moves along at a pace that those who are not familiar with the process have trouble keeping up with and providing input to. So I worry about this process sort of getting away from us a little bit. And I was looking at, in section 2.12, it talks about the ongoing meetings, and it says that the scope and budget anticipate up to 4 additional meetings not defined elsewhere in scope of work. 1 presentation for each round will be developed along with the first draft of the staff report. That's for additional council and commission meetings. And I took that to mean that maybe there's like 4 meetings over these 3 years, and that didn't seem like a lot. And so I was wondering how much feedback we'll get from you to the council, to the commissions about the process, how many updates, like what will that process look like for us? What can we anticipate?
Great clarifying question. So those are in addition to these meetings that are up here on this. I think I counted, and I want to say it's 30-something meetings with City Council and Planning Commission that our team is scoped to participate in as a consultant team. Those additional 4 are ones that are not on here, but you need an update right now, we can come and do the update, in the future to give you in between these different phases, or if we need to do another meeting on alternatives, you need us for a second meeting. Those are the kinds of that's the kind of flexibility we built into our scope of work, so that if you need us to come back for a particular reason, we can do that, or staff needs us to come back for a particular reason. So those 4 are in addition to, I think, this 30-something odd meetings with commission and council here.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll open it up to the public now. If anybody from the public would like to make any comments, please come to the podium. You'll have 2 minutes. Don't all rush. All right, we'll close the public comment, bring it back to council if there's any further comments and/or a motion.
I just had one follow-up question, and to Eric, kind of interested based on your experience on kind of lessons learned or best practices, especially at this kickoff beginning processes, how things that went extremely well in some other cities, or things that you wish you would have done better, if you could just kind of elaborate a little on, what we might be facing in the next 6 to 12 months.
We do everything perfectly, so I can't tell you what we do better, right? No, just kidding. We're constantly evolving the methods and practice that we use in our planning work. One of the things that I have learned actually in the last couple of general plans that I've done is to actually do the thing that says kickoff and project outcomes right up front. And so really it's a way to establish and set expectations both for the process and the outcomes of the general plan. So we're going to work with all the commissions as well as you all and community members who are participating in that practice to say, hey, these are the things that in our process we want to make sure we achieve. Those could be around community engagement, how we engage different groups in the community. They can be on the outcomes that we want our general plan to achieve. So we want to make sure that we can accommodate 3 additional regional housing needs allocations in our general plan land use map. They can be quantitative in that way and directive. So establishing those outcomes so that when we come back after we do the vision and everyone tells us what their issues are and we say, well, here are some land use options that help you meet these project outcomes. People are like, oh, okay, I helped create these outcomes, and these alternatives do in different ways, help us meet those outcomes or objectives. And so we can kind of line those up, because I think one thing that does happen is that people kind of lose the connective tissue over 2 or 3 different years in a planning process. And so establishing those early and then continuously like connecting back the alternatives, the policy, we're really here to meet those project outcomes and objectives. That's one way I would just say that in recent times I've been reframing the work that we're doing, because otherwise I think you can kind of lose that thread. And then the other is just we want to do engagement in many, many different ways, because some people like to be high touch, low tech. Some people like to be high tech, low touch, and everything in between. So we want to give people, and you can see that in our proposal, a lot of different opportunities to meet us in different ways.
That's helpful. Appreciate that. So I'm really pleased that we're at this process. I think it's really exciting. I think we definitely have the right consultant team. Thank you to staff for doing the hard work of soliciting the proposals and interviewing all the candidates. And so, Mayor, I'm happy to make the motion to adopt the resolution authorizing our city manager to execute a consultant services agreement with Alta Planning and Design in an amount not to exceed $3.1 million for a 4-year term, with an option to extend for 12 more months to prepare the 2050 general plan and programmatic EIR.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Francois.
Aye.
Councilmember Darling.
Aye.
Councilmember Diviny.
Aye.
Mayor Wilk.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Moving right along here. Everybody okay? Yeah. Okay. Next consideration item. Thank you, and thank you very much for the presentation. Adoption of resolutions approving the Downtown Walnut Creek Business Improvement District and Downtown Walnut Creek South Business Improvement District assessment reports for fiscal year 2026, intent to levy assessments for the fiscal year 2027, and setting public hearings for April 7th, 2026. And Economic Development Manager Mike Neiman, pleased to have you here.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, members of the public. I'm Mike Neiman, your Economic Development Manager. And the item in front of you today is the annual assessment for the Business Improvement District in downtown, as well as the South Business Improvement District. These are annual assessments that come in front of you. And you could see here a little bit of the history. The Business Improvement District was originally formed in 2005. Later, the south portion of the Improvement District was formed in 2010. This is the most robust area in the city and ground zero for economic development. There's about 680 businesses located in downtown. A lot of them are retail. There's a lot of other financial services and other types of services as well. The district is funded through the assessments, and these assessments are proposed to increase by 3% this year as they have been in the past. The process is a 2-step process. The first step happens tonight, and this is the meeting and presentation of the annual report that we have representatives from the Walnut Creek Downtown prepared to share with you. And then the second meeting is scheduled for April 7th, and that will be the public hearing where we tally and ensure that there is no
chapter. From successfully managing the first year of a new 501c3 entity to developing a comprehensive 5-year vision plan for both the downtown and the organization, to launching a new wellness-focused event just a couple weeks ago. This has been a year defined by momentum and progress. We expanded our services in meaningful ways, including strengthening our partnership with the Walnut Creek Police Department to introduce a Crime Watch program, most recently, and enhance safety throughout the district. And at the same time, we brought increased vibrancy and energy to downtown through a consistent lineup of street festivals and markets that continue to draw both visitors and residents to the downtown district. Behind the scenes, we made strategic investments in data platforms that are making our organization more fiscally efficient, while also equipping our business community with real-time insights on visitors, competitors, and marketing strategies, particularly through the partnership with the Economic Development Department Size Up Walnut Creek program. One-on-one engagement with business owners and operators, offering more detailed and tailored support through data-driven insights and social media assessments. So overall, it's been a really positive and productive year, and we're just getting started. With ambitious plans ahead, guided by the vision plan we've developed, we are well positioned to continue building a thriving, dynamic, and resilient downtown Walnut Creek. So this evening, I'm proud to share our annual report for fiscal year 25-26. Oop, wrong way. There you go. This is a map of, just as a reminder, of the district, which includes 29 blocks of both the bid and the south bid within the downtown district. Our committees vary through the arts and beautification, wide range of committees and alliances, including 2 boards of directors and business members to help advance the organization's initiatives. Our team currently consists of 3 full-time staff members and 1 part-time staff, actually 4 full-time and 1 part-time staff member. The advocacy role that we helped this year with the outdoor dining program. WCD championed a city-funded grant initiative aimed at encouraging businesses to establish permanent outdoor dining structures. And with the strong partnership between WCD and the city, to date 6 structures have been completed within the program, and Stereo 41 was recently approved. So we're looking forward to their addition. The considerable positive impact this program will have on the overall vibrancy of downtown is truly immeasurable, serving as an exemplary model of public-private partnerships. This past weekend, many of the outdoor dining spaces were full with diners enjoying the outdoor weather or the warm weather, and it's just an example of more to come. Community partnerships include the Business Watch program that I mentioned, the business data support, and then also participating in a variety of city efforts, including the downtown curbside management plan. WCD invested in a new data platform that helps turn raw privacy-compliant data into insights that strengthen the economic vitality of the entire district. In collaboration with the city and the chamber, the Size Up Walnut Creek, and our internal program, Placer AI, helps businesses analyze their performance, map competitors, and discover new customers and suppliers. Additionally, WCD engages in increased number of one-on-one consultations to assist our downtown businesses. The last year has included a deep dive into creating a 5-year vision plan. It will establish a shared framework for WCD informed by community and member input, data analysis, reflection on prior accomplishments. Priority efforts will align with WCD's current pillars led by individual committees, that include advocacy, beautification, events, marketing and engagement, and community partnerships. So we look forward to sharing the plan with council and members in the community in the very near future. The second year of Summer Arts Walnut Creek showcased 13 programs across performing, visual, and culinary arts last summer. And an update with this program is that in light of programming and logistical challenges faced by several of the partners, the Arts Alliance has opted to shift its focus from summer activities to year-round. Strategic group discussions are currently underway to identify ways to maintain the program's strengths while addressing its challenges, all while fostering positive and unified efforts. So it's the 13 groups working together have continued to strengthen over the last year. Holiday decorations were installed within the downtown via the Measure O funds. The over 1,000 strands of lights, along with 60 lampposts, adorned garlands, bows, and banners transformed the area for the holiday season. And the 7th season of Painted Pianos was a huge success, featuring 6 beautifully transformed pianos on display April through October. We had 80 volunteers come out to paint the pianos, to prep and beautify them. And a special thanks to Waters Moving and Storage as the presenting sponsor that through their generous support, it helped continue this program and for the next 3 years. Downtown Stages brings the energy of a curated live music, arts fairs, and partner activations to a dynamic open-air setting, transforming the downtown into a vibrant year-round hub. During the 2025 season, WCD partnered with the California Symphony, Diablo Ballet, and the Arts Alliance to promote their programs across the stage. More busker-style performances and additional pop-up events are scheduled for the coming year to continue to expand access to the arts. And in collaboration with the City of Walnut Creek, WCD, and the Community Partnership for Walnut Creek Downtown Association also advocates for public art by encouraging downtown property owners to participate in the Big Belly program and the mural matching program, helping to bring vibrant murals and creative placemaking to the heart of the downtown. Our marketing efforts continue to be very strong and far-reaching. These are a few stats for the year, and the website has seen over 182,000 annual visitors, with higher engagement from our business members who can now easily add their own events to the website calendar. And we have a combined following of 45,000 individuals that over the various social media platforms, and individual posts have reached up to 87,000 for one single post. And this continues to be a highly effective free marketing tool for our business members. In 2025, we continued with the Head West Marketplace program for a 4-date season on North Main Street, hosting markets in response to business requests for increased activity on this and foot traffic. 287 total vendors and exhibitor booths, ranging from 65 to about 90 per event. Joint marketing efforts generated more than 500,000 views on Walnut Creek's specific social media content, expanding our own and the downtown's digital reach. The season reinforced Head West Marketplace as a high-impact activation that drives visitation, visibility, and meaningful community engagement to the downtown. We hosted our annual Uncorked event on June 26, bringing 790 visitors to the downtown, and we also included 35 participating businesses and paired with 16 pouring and tasting partners. And many of the attendees this year said it was the best yet, mainly because of the increased restaurant and food offerings. They really stepped it up this year. WCD launched Locust Street Festival, previously known as First Wednesdays, as a 4-date Summer Street series held monthly May through August. The expanded festival footprint activated Locust Street and surrounding blocks on Wednesday evenings with live music, entertainment, kids' activities, artisan vendors, and downtown business participation. We hosted beverage service as a fundraiser at 3 of Broadway Plaza's concerts, drawing approximately 1,000 to 2,500 visitors per event, with strong dwell times throughout each event, which was very encouraging. We also started off the holidays with the annual holiday tree lighting ceremony, bringing the community together for a festive evening, marking the start of the holiday season in Civic Park. And the family-friendly event included hot cocoa and Frosty and Mayor Wilk and council members who were able to light the tree. And attendance continues to grow as long as the weather cooperates. So we saw probably about 300 people that came out for that evening. Walnut Creek's downtown signature fall festival, Oktoberfest, returned to Civic Park September 26th through the 27th with expanded programming across Friday evening and a full day on Saturday. The event welcomed more than 15,000 attendees and featured live entertainment, artisans, local food offerings, and a chill zone speakeasy. New and expanded elements in 2025 enhance the overall guest experience, including a larger community stage showcasing 17 performances by local schools and community groups. Oktoberfest continued its strong growth trajectory, achieving a 20% increase in total attendance year over year, including a 41% increase on Friday night and 11% on Saturday evening. Did I skip? Yep, Broadway Plaza hosted its annual Parade of Lights and tree lighting ceremony. We participated by operating a concessions booth, selling hot cocoa as a fundraiser, and also facilitated the use of the Zamboni and the rink's mascot Frosty as parade entries. And then Walnut Creek on Ice. We celebrated the 20th season. And this milestone year introduced a refreshed event layout that created a larger, more open visual footprint and improved guest flow while making Frosty's Summit Ice Slide more prominent and visible within the park. New rental skates were added to enhance comfort and performance and improving the overall skating experience for guests of all ages. In addition to on-site enhancements, we also launched a newly upgraded website, elevating that digital appearance and ease for guests who are planning their visits. And we look forward to the year 21 in November of this year. A new event this year that we included on March 1st was a wellness-focused event that was designed to engage an active audience within the community while spotlighting the wide range of health, wellness, and fitness offerings throughout the downtown. Guests participated in a self-guided walking tour, experiencing pop-up activations, local wellness vendors, and participating businesses offering movement, recovery, and nourishment experiences. The event encouraged attendees to discover new downtown businesses and services while exploring approachable ways to get active and healthy and connected. By blending wellness, movement, and community, the afternoon introduced new visitors to downtown, while reinforcing Walnut Creek as a destination for healthy living. This tiny slide, which you have a larger view, shows the fiscal year 25-26 budget as of January 31st, with our fiscal year closing at the end of this month. So the projected reserve for 26-27 is $18,489. The projected bid assessments for the upcoming year is $213,000, with a projected reserve of approximately $18,000. The revenue slide here, or income, the current accounts receivable is approximately $73,000 that we plan to collect by the end of this fiscal year in 2 weeks. Fiscal year 25-26 is the first year when most of these events, most of WCD events were produced through the 501c3 entity. And expense notes, the continued success of our large-scale events have required an increase in event supplies, professional services, and rental equipment, and in general, higher event production expenses. And this table shows the program's year-over-year net totals. And then the assessment fees, which remain on track with the annual 3% increase for both bids. And while we continue to serve and support our existing downtown businesses, we are really excited to welcome all of these businesses to the downtown in the upcoming year, with North Italia being this weekend. Our event calendar was recently published. You'll note that Locust Street Festival this year will maintain a similar format while we're refining the schedule and its focus. The series has been reduced from 4 events to 2 core summer dates. The event will continue to prioritize strong foot traffic, business engagement, and a high-energy festival experience. Oktoberfest, the overall structure and scale of the event will remain consistent this year with minor layout refinements, refreshed entertainers, and operational enhancements to help improve guest flow and comfort. The chill zone experience will be reimagined with updated design elements and programming aimed at elevating the overall atmosphere. And building on insights gathered through stakeholder engagements and strategic assessments with the WCD staff, board of directors, the WCD's vision for the next 5 years is centered on Downtown 365, creating a downtown that is vibrant, walkable, and active every day, all day of the year. This vision reflects both the downtown's current strengths and the clear direction expressed by the community for its future. At its core, Downtown 365 focuses on walkability, outdoor dining, and consistent activation, creating a downtown experience that feels safe and welcoming from morning through evening. The goal is to position downtown Walnut Creek as a place people choose daily for routines, connection, cultural experiences, shopping, dining, and special events. And this vision plan reflects both the downtown's current strengths and the clear direction expressed by the community for its future. Our strategies listed here are intended to support strategic decision-making, strengthen partnership, and ensure long-term sustainability. And ultimately, this vision plan turns vision into action, aligning priorities to create a cohesive downtown experience. Through a unified approach, WCD is positioned to remain resilient, relevant, and vibrant for residents, businesses, and visitors alike. Both boards are voting on this vision plan this week, and we look forward to sharing the complete document in the very near future. Another effort that we are working on, just as a FYI, is an entertainment zone. I think I may have spoken to that to you on most of this on this topic, but the entertainment zone is a designated area where people can buy open container drinks, to-go drinks from local bars and restaurants, wineries and breweries, and enjoy them outside in the common spaces. We're looking at that driven around WCD events, and we'll be meeting with local stakeholders and share that proposal with you in the months to come. So that concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks.
Yes, Councilmember Darling.
Thank you. It's a whole lot of fun there. Couple quick questions. Looking forward to next year, I know you and I talked briefly about the farmers market and potential for a partnership there, either with Walnut Creek downtown in the traditional downtown or out of Broadway Plaza. Have you heard anything more from them, or is that still underway?
We have a meeting with Stacy, the director, tomorrow.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she reached out. We're excited about the opportunity. It's something that we've been toying around with and discussing with their team, and it just wasn't something they wanted to pursue, and it sounds like they are. So we're going to, see what that means and then bring it to the city and to you with more information.
We look forward to hearing more about that one. I noticed that, we've had a strong partnership through our Measure O funds with the outdoor, the holiday decorations and some of the other expenses. I didn't see a Measure O line for next year.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking?
So what we've been able to adjust the requests over kind of as a fluidly over the last couple of years since the Measure O began. So what we'd like to do this year is align that with our fiscal year beginning April 1. And so that is forthcoming hopefully within the next 3 to 4 weeks.
So you guys will look at what your plans are and see if there's an opportunity for synergy with Measure O and look to come up with the partnership with the city at that point?
Correct.
Okay, so because your year starts now. and
April
ours
1.
doesn't start till July. So then whatever comes in would have to go into our budget for next year.
Yes. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
So we've got some time and we have some ideas.
You always do. As long as Gary Squirrel's in the background going, what about this? What about this? Anyway, thank you, and thank you for the help.
Just to get a little more clarification on that, so what is the conversation that's going on between Farmers Market and Walnut Creek Downtown, just to let the rest of us?
Stacy, do you want to?
Stacy just approached me when I was at the farmer's market booth, and she was really excited because she had just come from some conference. And sometimes you get really excited at a conference. But she wanted to explore the potential of doing some downtown expansion for an evening market. It wouldn't be as produce forward as the current Sunday one, and it would not replace the current Sunday one. But she said that she had found interest from some of her farmers in coming to one, even though they weren't going to be as well featured. She said they could either sell it there or put it in the compost. They'd rather come try to sell it. Anyway.
I'm not, we'll find out more.
You'll find out tomorrow, right.
And I'll be sure to share.
Yeah.
Right. Well, as long as I'm talking, let me just ask a question as well. A couple of merchants have mentioned to me that they see Locust Street and they look like Locust Street is just hopping. It's a big old party, and merchants that especially are on like on Main Street, but south of Cypress, between Cypress and Mount Diablo, feel it's almost a dead zone, is what they've said. Is there any thoughts of Walnut Creek Downtown doing some things to enliven that area a little bit?
Yeah, that's definitely been a topic that's come up in almost all of our meetings over the last year, and we had dedicated meetings with those business owners and operators. Some are no longer on the street, and so we're trying to start the conversation again, but that relationship with Head West specifically came out of their request for more activation there. And this year, it's the third year with that program to actually work with the businesses, keep some space open in front of the businesses that make that request. And then additionally, we are looking at, could we move a Locust Street Festival type festival onto North Main Street? The traffic component is a big deal, but there are things that are within our vision plan that do target North Main Street.
Great, thank you. Other questions?
Just a few. Thanks, Kathy, for the update. Can you expand a little bit on the summer arts program, or I guess a year-round arts program? What kind of changes are being made to that?
Yeah, it's mostly marketing and trying to create a little bit more cohesiveness with the cross-promotion that is available through all of the organizations. And so it's getting them to learn more on how to communicate, syncing up also their marketing leads, and then also being able to just kind of highlight the programs that are already happening and how could maybe a partner be able to participate in a festival cultural, is maybe Diablo Ballet have something that they'd be able to kind of cross-promote or collaborate with. So it's looking at collaborations instead of creating something new.
So that's helpful. And then did the downtown stages is that still part of the program, or?
Yeah, yes.
Could it be combined with some other event?
Right, and it's a space that is available. Donna from our team manages those, and so she's known to be able to be that contact person to create, any type of activation, usually at Waterlight Plaza, and the other ones, and that Arts Alliance are really the groups that have taken most advantage of that.
That's great. And Oktoberfest, one of my favorite events.
Yeah.
And got to serve beer with Tracy's dad, who's the champ. There's changes kind of happening around. The fall seems to be a real happening time. People want to be outside and be part of these big events. Walnut Festival obviously was a big event here. The future of that, I think, is a little unknown now. What kind of opportunities do you see for Oktoberfest to kind of build and grow and maybe incorporate some cherished traditions in Walnut Creek into that event?
I think it's the last couple of years have proven to be well-oiled machine for the most part. It's creating more opportunity for our community groups to be involved. I think we had that with the stages, so with a lot of and also engaging the schools a little bit more. So it's focused on community. We're happy with the footprint that exists right now. We don't see that moving to the other side of the bridge to the park just yet, but really trying to maximize the space that we have right now and fine-tuning and making it also be a little bit more authentic, bringing in more of the German influence so that we do have that feel throughout the weekend.
Terrific. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I was curious, the assessments, what's your lens on those? Do you feel they're sort of right-sized? I know there's a 3% increase. Is there a sentiment within the community that more or less would be better?
There are conversations within our finance committee and staff to look at that to see what would be a palatable increase beyond the 3%. I think right now that's it's comfortable for a lot of our businesses, and so especially our smaller businesses. So keeping that in mind, is there an opportunity to increase the current assessment fees? Is there an opportunity to expand the bid? There's all different ways to slice and dice it. But I think looking at the current fees right now, they're okay. I think they could still go higher and still be palatable for our membership. I'm confident with sorry to interrupt.
No.
I'm just saying I'm confident with our services that we've really been able to share and be able to engage more one-on-one over the last couple of years, that membership, is okay with that because they see the return. And for those that don't, those are the ones that we want to be able to engage with even more.
Right. Okay. That was all I was going to say. Is that it seems to me that the feedback is that it really is a value add.
Yeah.
And that generally the sentiment that you're getting from the downtown. Yeah. That's great. I also had the Measure O question. I was curious. Last year, did you applied for specific amounts? I see some of it like 57,000 went to the C3, 44,000 went to the C6. You had budgeted 120, but received 101. What did you apply? I'm not sure. Sorry for asking a vague question, but did that process sort of go well? And did you? I guess you'll be telling us coming up, but that amount kind of worked for what you were looking for last year, or you had budgeted more than you received.
Right.
What was your thought there?
So two things. One is that the difference between the C3 and the C6 is C3 is the all of our events are under the C3, and that's for public facing as opposed to the C6 with the business interface. And so some of those programs fell under the
beautification or the business end of it, and then the others were for like 32,000 was included for the Locust Street Festival, so event specific. So while they come out of two different buckets, they're still, under the WCD umbrella. It was the first year that we've done that, and we've got some fine tuning to do on that for the year ahead, and that's work that we'll do with Charles and City Manager Buckshire.
Okay. Oh, and I wanted to say for the Uncorked event, that really the food was really a significant improvement. So I will put in a plug for that. There's no way you could stop at all of the places and eat all of the good food that was available.
Yeah.
So
It was great.
that was a great event. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Kathy. And let's first open it up for public comment. Oh, Mike, do you have something to follow up? Okay.
Thank you. So just to wrap up, given the presentation, the staff recommendation would be to move forward with the resolutions approving both the downtown as well as the south downtown bid assessment rates for 2027, as well as accept this annual report. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Well, let's open it up to public comment. If anybody would like to speak on this, please come forward. You'll have a couple of minutes. All right. Seeing nobody for public comment, we will close it, bring it back to council for either further comments or a motion.
How about a move to adopt the resolution approving the downtown Walnut Creek Business Improvement District Annual Assessment Report for FY26, levying the annual assessments for downtown Walnut Creek Business Improvement District for FY27, and setting a public hearing for April 7th, 2026, and doing the same things, adopting the resolution approving the downtown Walnut Creek South Business Improvement District Annual Assessment Report for FY26, levying the annual assessments for downtown Walnut Creek South Business Improvement District for FY27, and setting a public hearing for surprise the same day, April 7th, 2026.
How about that? All right.
A second.
We have a second. And could you please call the roll, Susie?
Councilmember Darling.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVinny.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Francois.
Aye.
Mayor Wilk.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right.
And thank you for all your hard work this year.
Thank you, yeah. Why don't we take a 5-minute break, just to stretch our legs? All right, back here, what time is it? We'll be back here at 10 or 5 to 8. All right, we're back, and we will resume the meeting with our next consideration item and our last consideration item, the 2025 Housing Element Annual Progress Report. And I invite Housing Manager Stephanie Bryden forward to provide the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Wilk and members of City Council. I'm Stephanie Bryden, the Housing Manager, and the item before you this evening is our 2025 Housing Element Annual Progress Report. Tonight's presentation will cover the background on the APR, Annual Progress Report, and why it's prepared. We'll discuss the progress in our housing element programs and the Regional Housing Needs Allocation, or RHNA, goals. And we'll highlight key achievements we've made since the housing element was adopted in 2023. The housing element contains goals, policies, and programs that guide how we work towards our RHNA obligation. The process starts at the state level, where the California Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD, determines the required number of housing units across all income levels for each region of the state. Those numbers are then provided to regional agencies, in our case, the Association of Bay Area Governments, also known as ABAG, which distributes specific housing units targets across local jurisdictions like Walnut Creek. Cities are then required by the state to submit an annual progress report, each year documenting how they're progressing towards these goals. The report before you tonight is Walnut Creek's 2025 Annual Progress Report. The APR is submitted to HCD each year by April 1st. It includes a snapshot of the city's housing production data from the previous calendar year, which is the number of units issued building permits, and development activity such as projected applications submitted and the projects completed. The report also tracks implementation of the housing element programs, which are the specific actions the city is taking to facilitate housing development. The primary way the state measures progress towards RHNA is through the number of building permits issued. The city's total RHNA goal is 5,805. Since the beginning of the housing element cycle, the city has issued 244 building permits, placing us at approximately 4% of our RHNA goal. The state's methodology for tracking progress, however, doesn't describe the full picture. Units currently in the pipeline represent approximately, oh wait, I think I got ahead. Right. Sorry about that. According to the pipeline report found on the city's website, there are approximately 1,300 units at some stage of our development process. The pipeline stages go from a project submittal application to project construction. And the numbers in the circles indicate the number of units at each stage in the process as of December of 2025. The timeline for each project type varies depending on state and local laws that define development processes. Units currently in the pipeline represent approximately 23% of the city's total RHNA goal. Significantly, nearly half of the pipeline units are identified as affordable. And while RHNA progress is measured by building permits issued, this slide gives us a broader picture of development activity moving through the city's pipeline. And because cities don't build housing directly, the pipeline is one of our best indicators for how development interest may translate into future permitted and completed housing. The other key component of our annual progress report is our housing program activity. As stated previously, the housing element includes goals, policies, and actions that guide how the city facilitates housing production. Notably, of 145 total actions in our housing element, 138 actions have been implemented since the housing element was certified, and only one activity remains scheduled for implementation this reporting year, meaning 2026. These programs include activities such as updated zoning, supports for residents and developers, collaborations with our community partners, and encouraging ADU development, among others. To highlight the city's key achievements in 2025, this is a summary of action items implemented. They include housing production and affordability, like the increased number of permits by 147% over last year, additional affordable below market rate homes, rental units, and ADUs created, and a pro-housing incentive program award of $1 million. We also implemented zoning and regulatory streamlining, such as improvements in our permitting processes, removal of invalidated residential growth limitation and planned development permit requirements, and we updated our residential care facility regulations. We continued supporting our unhoused residents through ongoing funding of Trinity Center's evening and job training programs. We participated in Contra Costa County's Homeless Consortium and maintained the police department's homeless outreach program, the HOP team. And we sustained our community collaboration activities, including the Developer Forum and our partnerships through the city's community grant program recipients. Oops. And finally, ADUs were a prominent strategy that were enacted since certification. In that time, the city has expanded our housing options for ADUs through the creation of pre-approved ADU or PRADU plans, through zoning amendments that allow expanded ADUs on faith-based properties, and last but not least, creation of an ADU accelerator program which offers financial incentives for ADU construction. Notably, all of the rebates in this program were fully allocated within 9 months, which were well ahead of our expectations. In conclusion, staff asks that the City Council approve the 2025 APR and direct city staff to submit it to the required agencies. And staff is happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'm sure we have a few questions.
I saw it in Housing Committee, so I'm.
Okay. Any further questions?
Just maybe, thank you for the report, Stephanie, really great information. When you said in the pipeline that about half of the units are affordable, is that based on kind of the density assumptions that they would meet the density requirements to be characterized as an affordable unit?
It's based on information that I got from the planners for each of the projects in the pipeline, where they gave me the actual number of affordable units that had been identified for each of the projects.
That's impressive, then. That's a high number. I think that's all I had. Others were comments.
I do have one question, just a general question. I think we'd asked it before, but I just want to bring it forward again. You'd mentioned on one of the slides that we don't build, but we make the zoning available to be built on. So what happens if the RHNA targets aren't met? And what are the consequences, if any, of how cities would be held accountable on this?
My understanding is that cities in general are making every good faith effort they can to meet their RHNA goal. And in a lot of ways, that is exactly what we can do, is about providing as many program opportunities as we can to encourage the production of housing. And those are the only tools we really have available to us. And we can hope that the state would understand that we have literally done everything we can.
Well, we would hope.
If I might add to it, so what we are held accountable for is the implementation of our housing element. And so if we're not able to meet the goal currently, we are not penalized for that as long as we've made our fulfilled all of our commitments in the housing element to do everything to make the land available. Now, that's under current state housing law. Who knows what the future may bring.
Okay. So we're doing what we need to now, but obviously between interest rates, between challenges with construction, when I talk to developers, the timing isn't right and it doesn't pencil out, and those kind of things at this point, we're not being held accountable for, but of course the goalposts can move.
That's the law could change, and then in most cities' housing elements, including Walnut Creek's, they call for a mid-cycle review to see how you're doing against your housing element commitments. And if a city is below the midpoint, if you will, which many cities will be, but if a city's below the midpoint, then there may be direction from HCD to look for additional sites that could potentially provide for additional housing as part of a mid-cycle review. So think 2027 timeframe.
Interesting, okay, thank you. All right, Stephanie, thank you. We'll now open it up to public oh, is there another? We'll open it up to public comment. If there anybody that's running in from the hallway to do public comment, now is the time, come up to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment and bring it back to council for any comments or a motion.
I just want to say thank you to staff from the Housing Committee. I think you guys did a good job. We asked a lot of questions, and you guys are doing what we need to do to get there on the housing element. I appreciate it.
Rodan?
Yeah, I concur, and I think there is a tendency to focus on the percent, and it seems like a relatively small number, but I also like the fact that and I commend staff for the focus on achieving 137 of the 145 programs, because those are the things we really can control and that could have the difference in terms of increasing the number of units. And I think by focusing on those efforts early on in the cycle, it's more likely that we'll see the numbers grow. And I think the pipeline numbers are significant, and certainly the number of affordable units is significant. And I also want to thank you for applying for the state funding and funneling that money towards the affordable housing program. So, yeah, great work. I think we should stay focused on it. I think who knows what the state will do in terms of a mid-cycle review or otherwise. I mean, these units aren't going away, and they're only likely going to increase in the next cycle. So, trying to do what we can to accommodate this current cycle, and so that we're ready for the next one. That's all I had.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, no, thank you for the report, and I think as the city's staff has done a great job keeping us current, and that's hence our pro-housing designation, and I think that's what you were referring to, was there's an item on, I think, our consent calendar this time around applying for, what, $1 million from the state, so that's amazing, that's great. And so I move to approve the 2025 Annual Progress Report and direct city staff to submit it to the California Department of Housing and Community Development and the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation.
And I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Susie, could you read the roll, please?
Councilmember Devaney?
Aye.
Councilmember Darling?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Francois?
Aye.
Mayor Wilk?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, I believe that is the end of our meeting, so we are adjourned until the next regular meeting of the City Council, which is April 7th. Sayonara.